This is Rustin with Metalholic Magazine and Mojo Radio, and with me here is Jake Scherer of New Medicine. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing great, man. Just in Portland, Oregon right now, getting our van fixed as we make the journey up to Seattle tonight for the show. So
now, you guys are out on the Familiar Taste of tour with Hailstorm and Since October, Natalie's Way. I got a chance to see you guys the other night. You and I met at the show when you were here in Boise. And great show all around. Every band did a phenomenal job, but I think people were really surprised because most of them had never heard of you before, and you just had them mesmerized right out the gate.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that was a great show. We had played there and with the U's probably maybe a month and a half ago, and it was amazing. That was a great show, and we saw a few people came out, but yeah, like you said, a lot of new faces have never seen us before. So, just people that have never, this whole tour is people that have never seen us, So we just try to come out of the gates swinging, and get everybody into it. We're even though we're the opening band, we like to go out there and play and do our thing, and we like to play like it's our show. It's like we want people to walk away going like, wow, that was great. So.
For those who don't know New Medicine yet, I know you guys hail from Minneapolis, and you guys were sort of a different project before, A Verse Unsung. So if you could sort of maybe briefly tell us about the background of the band, how you guys went from sort of changing the name, and how maybe the scope of New Medicine is different than A Verse Unsung.
Right. Well, A Verse Unsung was me and Dan, the guitar player of New Medicine, and we had started a band when I was 17, and 17, and Dan was 18. And we were in high school, and actually our bass player now, Matt Brady, he had a band called Rise of Rust, and me and Dan used to go out to their shows together because we both were a fan of his band, and we went to school together. We all went to school together. But Matt was a little older, and he was in a band, and we went to his shows, and we were like, hey, dude, we should start a band. I was like, yeah, that'd be awesome. So me and Dan started A Verse Unsung, and we did an EP, and we had we definitely had some local success, and then we started doing some touring, and we did a full-length record, and we just that was a little more of a heavy project, and like I said, it was like we were just kind of learning how to be in a band, learning how to write songs, and all that kind of stuff, and we played and toured for 2 or 3 years, just booking our own shows around the country. Like we left when I was 19 and or 18. I just graduated high school, and we literally left in the van in September, and we didn't come home till Christmas. We had no money. We just booked our own shows and slept on couches, and we just kind of made it happen. But eventually, we kind of had couple of the members changed out, and I had really taken on we'd done some stuff, showcases for labels and stuff, and once they always would be like, well, yeah, we like the band, but we think you could use a few more songs. So I wrote new songs, and kind of had just a whole new set of songs, and it kind of felt like a whole new project. And we had just a couple different members we were working with, so we kind of felt like it was a different project. So we decided to change the name when we signed, and had all new songs, and that's a fresh project, and we're so excited about it. So.
Well, and I know you've recorded in the studio before because, like you said, you've done a couple EPs and everything, but how was it different approaching the studio this time, knowing this will be your full-length debut?
We felt definitely like there's a little bit of a pressure there, but I had definitely been in the studio enough to I didn't feel like I was uncomfortable, but it was our first time working with some bigger-name producers, and it's definitely feels you feel like the pressure's on a little bit, but we did Laid and American Wasted with Sam and Dave, who are very big producers out of New York, and but when you get there, I went to go write American Wasted, that was the first song we wrote together. I just got to the office, we wrote it, and I wrote it with Sam and Dave, and we recorded it right there, but it was just so organic. I went in there, and it was like, I don't know, they kind of become part of the band for a second, you know what I mean? And that's the way I like it. And then we did some stuff with Bill Stevenson in Colorado, and he is such a brilliant musician. He did Race to the Bottom, Little Sister. He did some of the B-sides to Amen. I don't know if you've heard any of those, but when we did a bunch of stuff out there, and he is like an idol for us because, I mean, he was in the Descendants and Black Flag, and he's a great drummer, and, you know, he had 15 drum kits there that we could look at. I mean, the whole experience was amazing, and then we ended up doing a few songs as well. In Minneapolis with Steve Hodge, we did like Baby's Gone, End of the World. We did that in Minneapolis, was right in our hometown. That's who we recorded a verse on song, Steve Hodge and Colt. And so we got to do a few songs in our hometown too, right in Minneapolis, which was amazing, you know. So it kind of worked out to where like we had a collection of all these songs, and we just had so many songs, and we worked with a couple different producers, and we feel like we made the strongest album we could, you know. We had recorded a bunch of stuff, and then we were like, you know what, I think we need a few more, and we kept recording, but in the end, now we've picked, it's kind of like we call it like our greatest hits of the last couple of years of writing and recording, you know, and getting ready, because we wanted our first album to be the kind of album that you listen to every song, because that's the kind of album people remember, you know, so.
Well, it's sort of hard in this day and age when people can just digitally get the songs they want to hear. You really have to make sure every song on an album is worthwhile, or people simply aren't going to buy it as a package.
Right. That's exactly all I think. Like, you know, people aren't going to buy an album if only 2 songs are good, because it's so much easier to just go, I'm just going to buy the singles. But we wanted to make a record where you're like, dude, I love every song, you know, and it takes you on a journey, you know. When you start with Laid and then you end on Sun Goes Down, it's just like it takes you for a ride, I think. And people, you know, people will say, oh, you sound like Rage Against the Machine here, or you sound like the Beastie Boys here, but then you're like, oh, but you sound like the Foo Fighters here. And we like to not be pigeonholed to like, oh, they're just like Rise Against, or they're just like this band, you know, like we're kind of our own thing. I mean, we take a little bit of the little inspiration from different places, and we take you on a journey through the record, and we think Race to the Bottom is an awesome record, so we're pretty proud of it.
It is. I've had a chance to listen to it a couple of times, but I really want to spend more time with it. But when I reviewed the show the other day, one of the things I said is that really to sort of identify your sound, you guys almost have to Cuisinart up some bands like the Used, Rage Against the Machine, the Beastie Boys, and even some Green Day, and throw in some Rage and some melodic
right
to get who you guys are.
Definitely.
Now, you guys played a couple songs the other night that really caught my attention as well. And when I was talking to Ryan, your drummer, I was like heartbroken because they're not on the album. So I have to ask.
Oh, right. Oh, like a Rose.
Like a Rose, yeah, that was the first one, because as soon as I heard it, I'm like, now I know I've never heard you guys before, but I know I've heard that song. And
right. Oh, because of Meatloaf.
Meatloaf, right. I interviewed him not too long ago and reviewed the album.
Oh, really?
Absolutely
awesome.
Love the song. And
nice.
But it's not going to be on the album, and obviously I can understand if Meatloaf's got it on.
Well, yeah, Meatloaf was like, he asked me, he asked me if I didn't mind like not putting it on this one, because our records were coming out so close to each other, and I didn't have a problem with that. I was like, you know what, he loved the song so much, and I wanted him to have his fair shot at promoting. You know, I wanted him to have the first go at it. So we'll probably put it on our second record, because we love that song. And it's just a great song, and it's a fun song, and I had a blast recording with Meatloaf out there. It was so fun. It's like, and Jack Black ended up. I got a call one day from Meatloaf. You know, it was just wild, but very fun. You know, like Rose. Great song.
Did you actually get to take part in being a part of the recording when he recorded?
Yes, I did. I actually flew out, and Meatloaf and me, we hung up for a couple of days in the studio. I sang all the background vocals on it.
Oh wow.
And I hung out in the studio with Rob Cavallo, and then after I left, then Jack Black came in, and he finished and did the kind of a duet with Meatloaf. So
right, great. It
was pretty wild, but it was great. It was fun, and I'm so glad he loves the song, and it's doing really well for him. So.